the day I discovered my clit, I almost failed grade 11. Yeah, I almost failed grade 11 when I discovered the clit. Because every time I see like people selling sex toys on like social media, and I hate these comments because I feel like they add on to the stigma. Because it's people that'll be like, your men have so much to compete with when they like see a dildo, and then it's like vibrating. Like, what do you mean by compete with when if your thing doesn't vibrate like that? So why are you competing? Why are you competing with where's the competition?
We need to talk about the fact that people are in relationships and the men make decisions that they want kids, but they're not active in
24 hours.
They are not actively being parents. They babysit. Imagine
how are you babysitting?
Imagine a whole father saying they're babysitting their child. Hey, but what are you saying? Oh, I gave her a break. I'm babysitting today.
Now for me, Borax is kids' shame. Like, they're overhyped for nothing. They're busy doing the most underwhelming things, and they have to. Oh my boy, congratulations! Oh my God, your child is. Your child is so boring. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Chats with the Girls. This is the last episode of season 1, but before we get into it, I'm Tumi.
Sipo.
I'm Witness. And this is Chats with the Girls.
Do it like a Salby day, baby.
Baby. And today for season 1 finale, we are going to be talking about sex. Like sex. Amadoda and sex. We're gonna cover communication, we're gonna cover pleasure,
double standards,
women enjoying sex,
promiscuity,
sex toys, masturbation, the works.
Yes. I've always felt like sex is for men because before my current partner it has always felt like very for me, but it's like men always reach some sort of climax or some sort of like pleasure from it, but for you it's just like it's not really like working out. So I want to talk about like pleasure specifically for women, and are we having this conversation enough that, like, you know what, women are not reaching climax most of the time, and most women actually still think that, you know what, like, sex is not my favorite thing because I'm not getting anything from it. Like, how are we starting that conversation?
So I think for me, my first experience with sex being framed as for men, especially like the pleasure aspect, was when there was like an elder at thinking my dad's place, and she was just like talking about what I have to do to prepare for marriage. Already I was just like, what's going on here, you know? And I know there's like this practice of like stretching your labia and stuff like that, and she wanted me to do it. I was just like, I didn't do
what?
that.
Guys, let me tell you, I did it.
Did what? What is that?
Let me tell you, and it's so uncomfortable.
Because this is the second time I am lost. Remember?
About my wife.
It's a real thing. What's that? Can you explain that?
So, you know your vagina, right?
Yes.
There's the place where the clitoris is, and then there's that skin that covers it, and then that also thingy extends down.
Yes.
So you can stretch that skin
for.
Apparently, it's pleasurable for a man.
You stretch it.
You stretch it out, and
you
then
stretch
now you
like
have
your clit.
No, not your clit. Your skin around.
The skin, that thing holding.
Yeah, isn't it covers and then it goes down. There's a section that goes down.
The pussy lips. So
those ones.
You stretch them.
Yeah, you can.
For what?
Apparently, it's pleasurable for a man.
Hectic.
Right?
They were like, you should start like
stretching the lips.
Yeah. How do you stretch them?
You just pull. Like every day, you just pull.
You sound first time. I'm like, what is going on?
The thing is, I thought it was only in Sutu culture.
No.
And my issue with it is that I did it anyway because I was told to do it, but I didn't even know it's related to like sexual pleasure for men or anything like that.
You were just told that it's like
something that I should do, and I did it.
So it's probably in the Nguni culture because you.
My sister
right?
just
Yes,
said no.
so I'm Zulu and my dad is Ndebele from
Yeah,
Zimbabwe.
yeah.
So that lady was from Zimbabwe. So when she framed it to me, because I asked her like, why must I do this? And she's like, it's going to help you keep a man that's your own. So
You see?
because like I'm not doing that. I literally just looked at her. I was like, I ain't doing that. And because my mom has always had like a very open relationship with us and like always open communication, I then called. I was like, hey, Batsingiti.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to do that if you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing it. I am not changing anything for myself for a man, you know. So that was like my first, like, you know, your vagina does not belong to you.
It's for pleasuring.
And then there was always like the shaming of like, if you were ever interested in anything or if you just watched the show with any like sexual context, it was like, don't be a hoe. Don't you dare do that, you know. I think what helped me out was just having that balance of like having my mom who was always just like, you know, you must try things. If you feel like a little confused or you just need someone to like listen to you, I'm here. So I've always used that as a sounding board. Also very fortunate that like all the other women in my family were also just like, yay, if you're gonna have sex, at least enjoy it. So when I did start having sex, that was like the one thing I always paid attention to, like, am I comfortable? Am I having fun? And I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had like any experience where I'm just like, hey, Nkosiyami, what a waste.
Let me just drink.
What a waste. For me, I've always actually been very sexually curious. Like, I started the conversation with my high school boyfriend. Once I became a teenager, like, I was very curious about it. I was very aware of my sexuality when I was young. Just that I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait for the right person. You know, there's that whole thing about women that you have to wait for the right person. No one is giving that to a man saying wait for the right person.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, when I eventually had sex, it was very, I was ready. Like, I was like, and even on that day, I knew, I was like, today, today I'm doing that. But I was never aware of the dynamics of pleasure. Like, okay, once you do it, like, what's the outcome now for you, and how, like, how are you supposed to feel? Even though I was very interested in it, I quickly learned, like, I was like, but is this really like something? Because I was not getting any pleasure from it. So
in high school.
We're gonna get heated.
This is the first, so back to us. This is the first time I'm speaking about it on a public platform, but I'm gonna talk. Yeah, we all do it.
Like, honestly.
In Nguni culture, Namxhosa, Nabaitetayo is you sleep with a man or a boy, you're gonna get pregnant, and that's not so. You know, it's not so, because I feel like that's kind of low key discouraging you to sleep with the boy, which is like unrealistic in my opinion. Because like teenagers are sexual beings. So I was lucky with the fact that the first person I had my first ever sexual experience with, his mom was a nurse. So his mom like really just educated him. Like, I swear, if it wasn't for that mother, I would have been a teenage mom. Because I knew nothing. I was just like experimenting. It was just my curiosity that actually led me to that stance. But like, it was him, he was very strict on, like, he actually told me about like protection, like birth control and stuff. And what actually stood out for me in that entire process is so like I had a pregnancy escape, but I think it was just me being my anxiety. Yeah. And then I remember how he handled that very well, and he was like if there's a problem, we're gonna call my brother. So it's like, you tell me what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to go forward with the pregnancy, or do you want to terminate? But with whichever route, we're gonna call my brother. And I feel like for me, that's what stood out, that like he had someone older than him at that time to translate and make like the situation like better.
That's so important. Like as
He
young,
had support.
for me, literally everything that I knew from my friends, but I never had that support in terms of my parents, because I was just told, don't sleep with boys, you're gonna get pregnant, your life is gonna get ruined. It was never like a conversation where we can have a conversation, discuss condoms, those things. I knew about those things based on LO and my friends, like, oh, if you're gonna have sex, use condoms, you're not trying to get pregnant. And we obviously being in the girls' hostel, once you start, there's already older girls that are having sex and everything like that. Those are not conversations I was having with my mom. And should anything had went wrong, do you understand how hard it was going to be for me to be like,
To
go to you, because we never had these conversations. That means like I just went behind your back and I did what I did, because obviously it's happening, but only a select few of parents are talking to their kids about it. There's this post that went viral on Facebook where a mother was having a conversation, like a WhatsApp conversation with the child, like, okay, so you're saying you're ready to have sex, is this your decision, whatever, and then encouraging her, talking to her about sexual pleasure and everything. And then a lot of mothers were sharing it like, you guys are teaching kids nonsense.
Yeah, and I hate that. It's so unrealistic. I'm always in those Facebook groups like whereby like a teenager sometimes comes in there, like there's a group that I'm part of, like a very popular Facebook group, but it's in isiXhosa, and you'll find that people say about I'm like, okay, let's be realistic. How old were you when you had your first sexual experience? So you are thinking your child is going to be different in what manner?
And why are they be because reality is we start having sex 16. That's when we are starting. Obviously, like there are other people that had it later on.
Do you find that because your first sexual partner was someone who was so informed that you were able to have pleasure and you were in a space where you could communicate what you wanted?
No.
But was he informed about pleasure?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was just the safety measure.
But I actually, like, if I'm being honest, I don't think it was about him. I think it was just more about me at the time. And I also feel like in that time I wasn't 100% ready.
Okay.
I do feel like I wasn't coerced or anything. It was my choice. But I do feel like when I look back, that's one experience that I feel like I should have waited for me to not only get to know my body first, figure out what I want. I like literally was just at the mercy of a 16-year-old. We were both 16. What the heck does he know? Like what the because like, and I feel like at that time there was just a lot of misinformation, because at school I'd hear other girls and they'll be saying, yo, you know, it's nice, and I'll be like, okay, maybe I need to do it this many times.
Yeah, for me to end up being nice.
Yes, but I still didn't get to that point. And I really, how I know that is because like after that, I literally never had a sexual experience with anyone else but my husband. Like it was hard for me because I felt like I wasted my time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I literally felt like I wasted my time.
Excited
I was like, I
for so long, and you're like,
I felt like I wasted my time because after him I also dated like other people, but nothing happened. And then when when me and my husband engaged the first time, I was like, sweetie, this is what I've been missing out on.
Now that we know what we know, how do you now communicate what you want in bed and what you don't want?
And say, I'm like, this one, it's not working. Yeah, no, I also say, I move. If something is uncomfortable, I will move you. That's like communication.
No, for me, I'm like,
let's
no,
redirect.
this doesn't work. Let's redirect. And then there's redirecting, be like, okay, this is not working.
Yes.
Or okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. But I feel like we're not having the conversation enough about when you are not getting pleasure, because we can communicate about, oh, this position is uncomfortable, whatever, but are we ever having conversations about, like, you know what, we've had sex this many times and I haven't climaxed once in this whole like time? Because also it goes to like, oh, you are bruising the guy's ego by saying that.
I bruise like a sham.
Yeah, bruise. Like, now I must. Yeah, the thing is, women are so afraid to talk about this. Now women are really afraid to talk about that because they feel like, oh, now it's gonna ruin like the relationship.
No,
like,
sorry, I don't have the capacity, unfortunately, to be holding your ego in like at the expense of my pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. I'll follow shame.
Yeah,
Not
so
at this
I'm
point in my life
sorry.
when I know exactly what like works with my body, and I'm not afraid to communicate it. It's either you're gonna take that or not. I'm very sorry.
For me, the dynamic is a little bit different because I'm busy with sexual relationships. I'm not for like a romantic relationship. So from the get-go, that is the main point. I am here for pleasure. If there's no pleasure, we're done.
Yeah,
Like,
because
literally,
what's the
we're
point
done.
of a sexual relationship where
We're
there's
not-
no pleasure?
Especially me, I'm here to give my own. I don't know about you, but I am here to give my own. So already from the get-go, I've already communicated that I'm here for pleasure. This is what I like. And then my modes of like communication now that we're like sexual partners is I will redirect you while we're having sex. Like I'll literally stop you and be like, what you're doing fucking hurts, or I don't like it. And then afterwards, we'll then have a conversation to be like, actually, this position doesn't work for me because of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there's some people who just need you to have like a live demonstration. So what I have done to one guy, I was just like, I'm gonna finish myself off with my vibrator.
Yeah.
Now I'm really gonna bruise your ego so that you can get that I do not like what you're doing.
What was he doing wrong? Oh, he wasn't he
Just wasn't understanding. So men have this tendency of when you start moaning and really enjoying something, bashinjamaki.
Yeah.
Yes, just stick to the
Stick to it.
Why the hell would
And
you
I'm
do
someone that says, I like this, and then you start doing it faster. I did not say
do it.
take the piece.
I
just said, oh,
And
I
then
don't think.
nothing I've said like you getting so close to having an orgasm.
And then it's like it takes it like I don't know, it makes you even
No,
tired, like,
I think my
crazy.
partner, I think my husband has mastered that, because if like I was really there and then now you chinchat my gears, then I'm also gonna go back to the unchinchat my gears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be like, oh, okay, we're starting a fresh month, and then like someone will actually see, but oh, that like that's how he's able to maintain exactly what I want. If it's the like I don't know if it's the pace, if it's the like I don't know direction, whatever, then he knows to stick exactly to that. Please listen. Please.
I'm saying, and if your finger is cramping,
Who's
your
over
hand is cramping, like literally hold it for the gods. Do something.
Let it fall off.
Let it like let me finish. Cause if I don't finish, I'm pissed. I'm tired. But you brought up something like what, you can finish off yourself. Like you can like sometimes honestly if. It's annoying that we are having sex together, but like sometimes what finish.
But it shouldn't be a norm. I shouldn't have to like
always finish myself.
off.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I hate, and I'm just like, why don't you get it?
Yeah.
What did he say?
And then
That's interesting.
Yeah.
He just looked at me and was like, okay. So I'm like, no, you did not do a good job.
He was not turned
You
on
did
or
not
anything.
do a good job.
No, he was
Like
just
I
like,
know if
no, he
I
was
start pleasuring myself, like my husband is like, I'm up again. Like
No, he
Like,
like
just
just
like,
like
I do my
But
own
because
thing.
I was so irritated, I was just like, you're done. I was literally that audio that's like, you're done. You're done. I'm gonna finish
Chance
myself
is
off.
dead.
Come again another day, but like literally.
Come
like,
again another day.
that's your last chance. I am done.
Yeah. Okay, girls, like now that we're talking about like finishing off ourselves, how do you feel about masturbation, self-pleasuring? Is it something that you do on a regular? Is it, you know, some people may even consider it as cheating.
Hi, bro! I'm cheating on who?
Okay, let's talk about are we doing it, what's happening, and then we'll talk about the cheating part.
I know that's what helped me discover my body, if I'm being honest. But I'm very religious, so I know that that's like the greatest thing. That was like really like, you know what, religion. I am going to hell. I was just like, ooh. And it's because I actually took the advice of an older woman that was like, you need to first figure out your body.
Yeah.
And this is what was before I actually got married, and I think she saw it probably getting there. She literally told me that if you're gonna expect that when you have sex with your husband, for him to find like places where you find desirable and pleasurable, you're gonna tell him like where, because you don't know those places yourself. So that's when I figured out my body. But at the back of my mind, you're a religion, Shem. Like hell. Like in winter, I must be closer to the heater because kumele ngishe ngazi ukuthi kunjani ukushisa yeah, so hey guys, yes, yo,
If that is any indication of what happened,
I was like, yo, I don't think I can cook because I want to touch yourself. Our first sexual experience very later on in like our relationship, like the entire relationship, and we actually waited. But I was number one so comfortable, which I feel like added on to the pleasure, and I had known my body, which also added on to the pleasure. So it was like basically us knowing knowing each other as like individuals, and then coming together to give ourselves that pleasure, which I feel like is like fantastic.
I would like it for masturbation to be part of like sex ed, because I feel like that's where a lot of people would like know their partner's body, especially like in heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people don't, especially women, don't get pleasure. So already if that's like part of sex ed, you already know what to do. The guy already knows like what to do for you, because I feel like even when you watch porn, it's more geared towards like a man's pleasure. So women already, by like watching those videos, you kind of have an idea. Men, they just think that you're just there to scratch it like it's a...
Yeah, this one's can't find.
You know, for the longest time, I used to say like, not the longest time, like when I started dating like my husband, like when we were still boyfriend and girlfriend, like our relationship was sexual based before, because my mind was blown all the time. I was like, hey Bo,
Where were you all
because
now?
I'd be he'd take his fingers and then like I go and I don't like being fingered. Because all the other people would just put their finger in there and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Even with the muffin, like I was just like, you guys don't know what you're doing. Until like I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be getting from this. And that's when you understand. And I wish like if I touched myself more, I would have known. But a lot of women think, oh, it's just about the whole. They don't know about the whole touching. What about masturbation made you discover yourself? Like, what else did you know? Like, oh, I like my nipples being touched, my ears, what?
I discovered the clips.
Yeah, thank you.
I almost felt grade 11, okay? What? It's a tweet. That girl was like, the day I discovered my clit, I almost felt grade 11. Yeah, I almost failed grade 11 when I discovered the clit. But it was, like I said, that I went to the So like when I met my husband, I know that he made me discover like penetration, that I actually really like penetration. But then I discovered the clip by myself, guys, and I was like, ooh, I almost felt grade 11 in fourth year, not final year. But before I answer this, I actually want to ask you guys, do you think it's the man's responsibility to know more about the female body, or is it the female body irresponsible, like in heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a 50-50 thing, especially more from like a men's side. I think for me, men should just understand that, first of all, women's bodies are different. What worked for the ex will not necessarily work for me, you know? And then for me, I need to know like what my pleasure points are, what I like and what I don't, so that when he starts doing those things that I don't like, it's very easy for me to communicate and be like, Jonah,
Not today.
Yeah. For me, I feel like I feel like women should actually know their body, because if you are expecting a man to come in and be like, nah, I know a woman's body, like that. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what witness is also saying. Yeah, like that's what witness is also saying. Like you're gonna come from a perspective of you. Now my ex moaned so much when I did this and this, and then you're gonna come and do it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's your responsibility also as a woman to know what personally works for you, so you can tell your partner. It's all about communication. What works for you, what's not, because even for him, what your ex might have liked, he won't necessarily like. So it's the responsibility of each partner to say what they like, what they don't, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be like, oh my god, that was such a waste of time, because both of you never got the pleasure out of it.
With me, I think like it's like I also call the same like perspective as you guys, because I have like certain days, like maybe I'll redirect my husband to like my nipple, like okay, I like being touched here, like being sucked, and then on other days, like my nipple is so sensitive,
and I'm just
like get away from that.
Can you leave?
And I'm like the moment he's like you know, and like, and so it's like someone just realizing like my body language. The moment you come here, I'm like, please not today, because I checked my app, my periods are 4 days away. It explains the sensitivity, you know. So I think it's just really probably. I think I echo the same like sentiments in the sense that like men share, maybe they know their bodies, and they've never really been in heterosexual relationships. They've never really been in a female body and a woman's body, so they don't know uguti like what do you want for that certain time. So I think it's just like upon us to really communicate.
How do you guys feel about like bringing sex toys into the bedroom with your partner, not just for yourself?
Yo guys, I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I actually haven't done, but I'm interested in doing now. Only because I'm like saying Tumi like on my shackles of being like a Christian. Okay, let me not say that.
You're still a Christian child.
I am still a Christian.
You are,
but of being
like
this one where I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna bend, guys, I don't really think I'm gonna bend in hell for a vibrator. Out of all my good deeds in life, never hell because of a vibrator. When I get there, I'm gonna be like, can you please bring the manager? Now where I am, I've really gotten to a place where I'm like, everyone else doesn't identify where I am within my spirituality. It's all about me. I do what works for me. I do what works for my partner. I do what works for our family. It might not be the right thing like according to everybody, but that's what works for me. And that's why I'm even like comfortable now to say such things in like a public platform and to be able to speak out loud, because even then it wasn't like the right thing to do according to this person and that. I really don't care anymore. That's what I'm saying, but I've never gotten to a point of like trying like sex toys, but honey, I am very open. Tell me, send a sponsor, I'm a sex toy.
Send us
Actually, sex toys so that we can do reviews.
And we will review them nicely.
Review nicely because in abantu.
I am also open to it. Like I think we've tried like your sex dice, your handcuffs and stuff, but I really haven't had a vibrator before and everything like that. But it's not something that I'm not open to. Like my husband was like, I'm even gonna gift you with one. Whatever. Like it's something that we're open to. It's just that we haven't gotten to doing it.
The sponsors are vibrators.
Like literally,
so we can come back and say, honey.
That's what I'm saying. My human has always literally been my vibrator. But we have had that conversation. We are happy to try all of those things out. So, but it's something.
Tell us, witness. Tell us everything. Yes, honey.
Tell us everything.
Bring it on, baby girl.
I have, and it is such a great experience. because already when you're using like vibrators, you just like really enjoy like pleasure to like the maximum. So I've just only used a vibrator so far. And listen, those orgasms,
Really?
if there's something to
Every
it's
time.
fine, it's okay.
That
It was fire.
It was worth it.
Fire.
It was so
I got the release, so it's okay. I understand.
So it's really good. I feel like for even like the sexual partners that I've had, they just also like see a different side. Like, oh, okay, so this is what you meant when you said you wanted that thing done.
Because every time I see like people selling sex toys on like social media, and I hate these comments because I feel like they add on to the stigma.
Yeah.
Because it's people that'll be like, your men have so much to compete with when they like see a dildo, and then it's like vibrating. Like, what do you mean by compete with when if your thing does it vibrate like that? So why are you competing? Why
are you competing with
where's the competition? What has been more pleasurable according to you?
I think for me, first of all, I just need to break down like orgasms. Okay, like there's different types of orgasms.
Yes.
So you can get like a vaginal one and a clitoral one. So I've experienced like both separately, but like if you bring in a vibrator, you literally can have both at the same time, and it is so magical. To the point where you're just gonna need to go and have like a glass of water. Just to like
Calm down. Come back to earth.
And I actually have used, I think it's called like a cock ring that vibrates around him, and then like the top part also just like
on your clit.
Yeah,
I've
do I feel like I want this thing?
I've used that.
You've used
that? That's actually the only I've even like recommended to a friend.
So that works.
That's nice.
And then for like your solo sex toys, I think it just depends on like what are you willing to do. So I normally try to get things that I can use for like both my clit and my vagina.
So they work at the same time?
No, not necessarily at the same time. So I just have like your standard vibrator that you can like insert, and you can also just use it on your clit.
Okay.
And then there's a new toy that I highly recommend. I believe someone had posted like a review of it. And she was like, that he was like, I saw someone review and say, please don't try this if you have anything else to do, and get a glass of water. And she was like, it's fine. So she was like, she had to go drop off her kids. So basically like this vibrator, it's got like a suction. So you put the suction part on your clit, and then there's a vibrating part that you put in your vagina. And she was like, she had to throw it out because like she just could not handle the orgasm, and it's not a lie.
You know, guys, I experienced that thing where I feel like the orgasm is too much.
Yes.
Like,
I also
have you ever like where you like I feel like
even when they touch
you like I'm going to explode. Like I'm going to explode. Should this go on? Like I actually, and I feel like it's I show some, like, especially when I feel that like strong sense of I'm gonna burst, I want to stop it because I feel like I'm getting to a point where like death is near.
I mean, that would be a beautiful way to go out.
I've also told my husband where I'm like, no, I'm like, he'll be like, I'm like, no. And he's like, I'm like, you know what? Or sometimes I'm just like,
you need a break.
it's 15 minutes interval.
It's okay.
Please. Yeah, like they can get really intense, guys.
Yeah. As we are talking about being freaky, like sex, we're so open about it and everything like that. But recently I read a story on Facebook where it was not a story, she was basically there where you say admin hide my name, and then she says that, you know what, I have my main boyfriend that I love very much and I want him to marry me, so I have hidden my freaky side that I really love sex, and I only have sex with him once a week or even less, so that he doesn't view me as someone who's like freaky and everything, but I have a side piece that I just use for sex so that I have an outlet. So she feels like by her like only having sex and not acting like she enjoys sex makes her more respectable and
more wife material.
Yeah, more wife material than
yo guys, like I'm thinking how being in heterosexual relationships is just taking
Shackles.
What is Squid Games?
yeah, it really is.
Do or die. You run green light, red light. You uzokushona.
Because I just don't understand what is it about you being like freaking enjoying sex that makes you less respectable.
It's because of how men have set it up.
Then they can go. The original. The Zekes.
Like the original hoes are the ones that are like, men are the ones that are quick to ask about body count. I'm not gonna sleep with you when you have slept with so many people. But they
ask them how many people
they've slept with. For them, it's even a pride thing. I've slept with so many people. But you are sleeping with women, so why would their body count be 0 if you are sleeping with?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make sense. So that's why I feel like a lot of women are like, oh yeah, I have to act like a certain
And
way.
then, like, my thing is with what she's saying and her, like, reaching out to the admin on Facebook is when they get to where she feels like is the goal,
like the goal,
which is the marriage, then what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah.
Continue with your side.
Like, are you going to continue with your
because
side?
like
Are you going
need
to
the
voice
pleasure.
out? You need the pleasure, especially if then you say, but you have sex with your main partner like once, God, that you have like that means like even your sexual drive is high. Things that you're supposed to be communicating with the person that you are saying you want to like have the entire life with. So now when you get to that point which you feel like is the goal, then what?
Then what's gonna happen?
What's going to happen?
Because
then?
now maybe even he's used to once my work is once a week. Now you are here coming with some sex.
Yes,
that
then
you want
what?
to be like, then what?
Because
Yeah.
then obviously the person's gonna question about how long have you been hiding the side of yourself and what were you doing to like outlet it, Personally, it's a no.
It's a no.
You're
Yeah,
not
no.
freaking why.
It's a no.
No, guys. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Even though, like, for me, like in the beginning, like, I think it's also because I got married really, really young, and I hadn't really figured out. But like, my husband knows he needs to. We answer to the parts of me that are becoming.
Yeah. The more you become, you have to like show up.
Like show up to that. In sex, I feel like that's the advantage that men have because whatever they do, they will certainly reach an orgasm. And I've been a person that knows that I don't have that privilege to a certain extent in heterosexual relationships. So I'm gonna have to communicate. Otherwise, I saw the guys. You're not gonna waste my 15-20 minutes of my time for nothing.
How are we feeling about women having multiple partners? From what we're talking about, the conversation is already such a taboo that a woman can have multiple partners and it's normal. But when it's a man, it's like, okay,
Nobody
cool.
questions
Yeah,
it.
nobody's questioning it.
I'm definitely for it. I'm just more of a, if you know that you're being promiscuous, obviously be safe and everybody that's participating in it should know that like you're promiscuous. Don't lie to people and be like, no, we're in a relationship, got the
Like, leave your truth.
Not Jack, not John, not Jill.
So definitely
There's
leave your
like Jill,
truth.
Jack, everybody.
And I think also just like being mentally prepared for backlash, unfortunately, because some people are just not going to agree with that. Some people are just always going to have like questions about it. I would just say like be very sure and also know why you're being promiscuous. So if it's more of like a reaction to either like a bad relationship, I'd be like, okay, cool, go for it, but also like seek other counsel to deal with whatever issues would have stemmed from like that bad breakup.
I'm just all for do you, honeys, as long as you stay safe.
Just be safe, guys. Take your prep, your
Whatever you need to do.
everything.
Yeah, because I feel like
everything,
I've just
be
gotten to
safe.
a point where I might have certain beliefs, but I can't like really project them onto other women. And I really just do feel like society has always just been so unfair on black women most specifically, and then women like other races and stuff. So like, guys, let's just fight, hey, for the next generation to have it more easy than this. To each their own. Do what feels best for you. I can never like go on a public platform and say this is the right thing to do, because that would be the right thing to do for me.
Yeah,
which is
that's the thing.
unfair.
There's never like you can't.
There's
be
not
like
a
my
not
beliefs are this.
unison.
So
Yes.
thank you for saying that, because I agree wholeheartedly with you.
Do you find that people have an issue with promiscuity because of women taking part of it, or because they feel like you might be lying to everybody else that you are busy with?
I feel like it's women taking
It's just
part of
'cause
it,
it's women
because
taking part.
like society has always allowed it for the men to be the people that benefit from it, and now we are in a stance where society is also like slowly like accepting for women to be part of it and benefiting, which is why I find like so crazy, especially in heterosexual relationships and like the society that we live in, which is like a men and women having completely different experiences. It's like today we are not allowed to good things.
Yeah, we have to be
not
controlled.
Sex, not evil, no pleasure. What are we supposed to?
We are just
like,
dollies.
why?
We are just dolls that are meant to like
do as it's told.
And I feel like it's more about them. If you don't discover that you can have multiple partners, that you can fail grade 11, we're not gonna have a problem like because you are supposed to, like, if I'm the man, you're supposed to just cater to me. But if you can see that you can cater to yourself, we have a problem, because now you can leave me, and then what about me? Let's drink to the male tales.
Yes, but which is it's all about double standards, you guys.
Speaking of double standards, like, what's the one you hate the most, especially when it comes to like heterosexual relationships and sex?
I hate the body count. I really hate it because it's like the woman, specifically before which had it, or if that's what you want, which is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like, there are women who want that for themselves, who want like the I know I was like those type of women. I wanted like the family structure, I wanted marriage. And it's like, when are you supposed to act a certain way for you to achieve a certain way? And then in Dotayona.
And the guy is proud to bring
this way, I'm a body count now. When I know 1, 2, in Dota, 12.
And then he's proud of it.
He's proud of it.
When you are even ashamed,
so I
you are even ashamed
you
of
are,
the two.
Oh, with the two.
Yeah.
A woman can't like desire marriage and want like a family structure, but they can still live whatever life that they want to live for themselves at that time. There are certain men who won't mind that. Which is what I feel like pisses off those traditional men.
Yeah, yo!
And then there's all my shabu, baby.
My husband has experienced this multiple times over multiple things, with me being comfortable with posting like bikini pictures and everything, and he even reposts and everything. And look, a lot of men are like, are you really comfortable with your wife now looking like that? Like, now
Sexy, so what?
This sexy, and he knows I'm sexy. It's not about the other people, it's about me. Men will even come for other men, like, why are you allowing your woman to do that? It's like they want this sense of control over us all the time. And I agree with this body count thing. That's I've said it multiple times. Like, that double standard is so annoying. Like, if you have a body count of 12, you probably slept with some girls that you are not right now marrying, so you contributed to that body count. Yes. But why is it a thing? Like,
you can
and how does it also affect how I am as a family woman? Because those things are in the past. They should be in the past for you. So for them, their sexual history and everything, they feel like, oh, I'm still fit to be a family man with my body count, but a woman is not. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
Yeah, I think for me, like, the double standard I hate the most. I want to say anything and everything that has to do with like a woman's uterus, but more especially on like the childbearing side. Anytime someone's like, I don't want to have a kid, people are up in arms, and I'm just like, for what? You guys aren't adopting the kids that are there. The healthcare is shit. You're not fighting for any education. You just want to see people pregnant, and then the child is here. Then now you start shaming them off. If you couldn't take care of the child. Because I think the thing that upsets me the most about this country is that if you wanted to have like a hysterectomy, you literally need to go through a legal process where they're gonna constantly ask you like, are you sure, or you don't even want to have kids?
Why?
I'm just like, for what? I am of sane mind. I know that I don't want to have kids, so why is it like such a legal
you're gonna change your mind.
I think it's because it's the first generation that's literally taking ownership of their bodies. And I really had like a great struggle. I even shared it like in my recent like a video whereby like I've just like, when I got married to my husband, I was really young. So now I'm like also developing into my adult body. I'm gaining weight, which I love, because like now I'm really starting to become me, and it's like so fascinating to me. But you're like single, it's something that my in-laws, which were the people that I was prepared like at the back of my mind to deal with this for. They totally respect my decisions, totally respect that journey is for me and my husband. They would probably be excited for the child when we say, oh, by the way, guys, we're pregnant, you know. But it's just the strangers. I can't even joke now about like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get pregnant. Is that joke so bad? Like, oh, my husband got a new haircut, I'm gonna be pregnant. I can't have that because there will be people who take those literally, and it's just like, why can't I have that? Do you understand what I mean? It's not only the body count, it's always just been
the policing.
Yes, the policing
of
around
a
like
womb and what they want to do
what
with
you should
it.
like. Why? Now, but if you have 3 kids of your own, congratulations, I'm happy for you. I'm sure that's the choice that you made for yourself. I don't want that.
I don't want
your
it for
situation.
myself. Year by year, this conversation is being pushed towards me. You're gonna love kids. Like, you can't still not be liking kids. Whatever.
Why even do they think that you don't love kids?
Yeah, like, no, I'm someone that's just can't interact with kids. Like, kids bore me. Like,
and why can't you say that?
You guys
Apparently you're being mean.
You are being
Why?
mean. And then, like,
That's my thing.
and then like now
I love kids. I have like 3 nephews. I love kids, but I'm sorry. And my sister, even my family, is the one that like always reminds me of the reality of having kids. My sister has 3 beautiful boys. I know she would like kill for them. But when it comes to me, she always tells me, but you. Like every time there's a situation, you should be like, you see, now I wasn't able to make this decision because I have to think of them. I wasn't able to do this because I have to. You need to think, do you want that for yourself? She's the person that I was like,
and you know what? I've never said I don't want kids. I have never said.
I
like,
also want
even
kids.
if
I
you look
have
at
said
it,
it.
if you look at my vision board, kids are in my life. I know I want kids. I don't necessarily like it. Like, guys, I don't interact well with kids. Bambora, they're always doing boring things. Like, they want boring. Yo, now for me, boring is kids shame. Like, they're overhyped for nothing. They're busy doing the most underwhelming things, and they have to. Oh my boy, congratulations! Oh my God, your child is. Your child is so boring.
I get that.
Like, you know, but
I'm even thinking when they're dancing like, and like,
that time boring like crazy. But something that I've been introducing in conversations a lot that me and my husband have talked about, and every time I say it, I say that, you know what, I want a surrogate. I don't want to carry my own children. Yes, I want my DNA, but I don't want to carry my own children. Every time, yo, I'm sure your husband won't be happy about that.
why do they
Like,
think
he's
the
just,
husband wouldn't be
like,
happy
and I'm
about
just
that?
like, do you think
Are you married to the same man I'm married to?
Like,
First of all,
like,
let's start there.
why
Are you married to the
and
same
why
man I'm married to?
am I being forced to now carry my own kids? Like, it's my decision right
There are
now. Like,
options.
and that's the one thing, you know what, kids I do want, but the one thing that I'm dead set on, I really don't want to carry my own kids
And that's
for
okay.
so many different reasons.
That's okay.
Superficial and health wise, I really don't. But I give out to stretch. I don't want to stretch. I don't want that whole thing.
that's
I
okay.
want to have kids when I have 2 nannies, because I know myself. I don't have a maternal instinct even when it comes to my husband. Like, sometimes I forget, especially when in the house you can make food yourself, but when he's at my house, obviously, like, he can't just walk around and open the fridge.
Yes.
And then I find myself forgetting, like, oh, have
Just
you eaten
clarify for
already?
the viewers, Monty, at your house, you mean by your parents?
By parents' house, yeah, by my parents' house. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
will
where the
forget.
reality comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom
And
would
then
be
I'll
like,
be like-
"Oh, man's early breakfast," and I'm like,
Yeah, that's me, and that's the thing. I don't have that, but I know that I do want kids in my life, and I want, like, you know, that legacy, like, to continue, and I want kids at a time where they don't have to, they have to experience soft life. They have to experience. I don't want them to ever experience me like, I sacrificed my youth for you, I did this. I can be in my 40s, whatever, when I decide that I want to have kids. But I don't want to carry them myself, even if I wanted kids tomorrow.
okay.
Even
You
now
want
with
to.
my healthy
okay.
young body, I don't want to But I promise you, I've had this conversation with enough people, and the first question is always, what does your
Why
husband
does
say?
it matter?
If my husband were to say, I want 5 kids,
And don't you think...
no one is gonna say to him, what did
Why?
your wife say
Yes.
about you
And
wanting 5
I feel
kids?
like for me it's like thank you for like what you're mentioning, like in terms of like what you want in terms of like children, and like it's something that my mom is even not even like accepting, because I'm like, I am not having a child up until I can afford this and this, because I'm like, I know I will need help. Is up until
I don't want to wake up,
because I'm like, I know that
Like
for my first child I will need this type of help, and I'll need to afford up until I can afford that type of help. I'm not having the child. And if Umdala is gonna bring that, what if then he doesn't bring it? Then I'm gonna be depressed.
Now we are here.
Then what?
Start in a 2-bedroom.
And then
What
what?
if I
Stuck in
want
a
them to sleep
2-bedroom
in the other
apartment?
wing of
Yes,
the house?
2 beds, 2-bathroom apartment. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I envisioned for my child. I envisioned to buy, because what I want is I want like a house for me and my husband. I want like a space whereby the person who's going to assist us, which I already know, has like a place of their own where they are even comfortable. That's what I want. I just know I need to get this and this ready, so that I know that I make motherhood a breeze for me.
Breeze, and
Oh,
my
my mom
children
is
don't
all the
feel
way.
the pressure
Yeah,
of
I'm
my
in Gauteng.
frustration.
My mom is all the way in the Eastern Cape. I know my mom wouldn't mind like taking on my children, and I always tell her, like when the child like becomes a toddler, of course I'll fly with the child to East London. We have lunch, you go with the child, I go back to Johannesburg. But then like 2 years back since because my husband's mom is also in Soweto. We'll be staying probably like in the east, and then what? Do you understand? Like the child will need us. I want to make sure that I have all the help, because one thing about me that I can tell you guys freely, I'll need help.
What people don't realize, or what they take offense to, is when you just like outright come and say, I'm a selfish person.
Yeah.
So for me, my selfishness stems from like how I grew up and everything else that I've seen with regards to like being a parent, more especially towards like motherhood. So if you were to like do like proper research, what you need to realize is that most people are like single mothers, regardless of your partner being there, right? And that is something I don't want to carry on my own. Furthermore, there's like sacrifices that you need to make for a child to live comfortably. Like there's certain parts of your career that you need to let go of, especially in like South Africa's economy. You don't have the luxury of just waking up and saying, I'm gonna go make $1 million. How? You know? And people don't also speak about like the dangers and anxiety that comes with like being a mother. Like for me, already with pregnancy, I know it's like very high risk, because I do suffer from depression. So I'm either gonna have prenatal depression or postnatal depression. Now I'm hitting a whole child that I brought into this world, you know, and I feel like that is so unfair. And I always carry this anxiety of what's this thing? Looking at the way my parents raised me, like I was a very easy kid. But now imagine you have a child that either has like a mental health like you do, it's now something very hard to deal with, or just like a child who's just a child. Now you need to raise this person to be an upstanding citizen. You must make sure they're not a murderer, they're not a thug. You know, it's like all of these things people don't take into account. On top of that, the world's like a shitty place. Why am I bringing a child into this situation? I'm not for it. Like, if anyone else wants to be a parent, good, but please, like, respect my decision.
You know what? I'm so glad that you brought this up. For me, I want to be a parent at a stage where I know I can give
do all of that.
and I can shape. Right now, I'm at a point where I'm
Not because
building.
I'm not given a choice.
Yeah, right now I am in a stage of I'm building a career. I want to be at a place where, you know what, I know there's boundaries in the workplace and everything, but should there be a client that I'm really passionate about, or the like account I'm trying to get, I can work till 12 and I'm not disturbed, I'm not annoyed. Like literally I'm at a stage where I'm building, and I know a child requires certain amount of attention for them to really have
a good childhood.
a good
If you
childhood.
speak to
And
people-
remember, and the problem is that these people that are pushing the agenda of have children at this age and everything like that, we are scarred ourselves because our parents had to make certain decisions that didn't include us because they were young parents. I want to be like Sipo. Hey, I'm powdering
You
myself.
like what did you say? Oh, Asante was 3 months old. She was already working.
Yeah.
2 months old. She was already working.
Because there's enough support structure, there's enough everything that's
And you
set
can
up.
afford that.
I'm not saying that just because we'll be more mature and everything, we'll give children a better thing. Or like we can talk about not even having kids at all. Because I might get to a point where
You don't want.
I don't even want at all, and I'm okay with that, and that's a conversation we've had. And if people are keeping asking, but and the worst part is people always like, what does your husband have to say about that? And people are single mothering
And
in
also
relationships.
people thinking
right
that
now
you
people
would
are
go to a public platform speaking about something like either like not be comfortable of having children or like right now without also speaking to the person that you're most closest to. Like what do you think that Betunana? Like if I say I don't want your children,
marry you without
like
that
if I come into a public
'cause
platform,
it's how-
do you really think that platform like wasn't like placed and like we're both able to, do you understand what I'm saying?
This is what I want.
This is what I want. And
Yeah.
as well, like we need to talk about the fact that people are in relationships and the men made decisions that they want kids, but they're not active in
24 hours.
they are not actively being parents. They babysit. Imagine
How are you babysitting your own
imagine a
child?
whole father saying they're babysitting their child. Hey, but what are you saying? Oh, I gave her a break. I'm babysitting today. So that's another thing that people need to consider. Okay, like this thing of like, oh yeah, now my man was ready to have kids. But that man was ready to have kids in terms of the title, what the family was gonna say and everything, but they were not ready to parent. You are parenting alone. I know a lot of women who are parenting alone. Are we gonna say it out loud? We are not, but we see it. And for me, I'm very out loud. I'm like, I can't tell mama is not the dad. Oh no, my child needs to breastfeed. Da, 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 da. I'm like,
You
hey,
can take the
you
breast
can
milk
pump-
to the
You can
father.
pump and give the breast milk to the father. It's not your responsibility. And Bona, they put father to their title so that maybe when they are at a workplace, they're taken more seriously. Or with that, it's always with families. When are you bringing the heir to the
Dude,
thing?
it's like,
Mara,
just
in
think
terms
out.
of fathering and being in the actual being a father, they are not present. So that's a decision you need to make as well as a woman to say, okay, if I'm deciding, okay, I'm gonna have kids, it's a possibility that I'm parenting alone.
Yes. I think for me the wildest thing, especially with like fathers, is if you were to like step out as a mom, you're gonna get a phone call. Anje, it will be land. How do you not know where your child's bottle is?
Has some, like,
How
that's
do you
what I
not
know. Like they
where
don't
the
know
binky is?
anything.
Like, are you serious?
They don't know anything. They don't know, okay, what comes down the child, what does this? Because they are like, at night when the child said, Ingani yakhala. Hey, Bo!
So baby is funugulala.
Hey, Bo!
So baby.
That's the day I'm like, hi, Bo, I pack. I'm packing. I'm leaving all of them. Me, I'm sorry. Like, I will tell you today, I'm a selfish person. I will leave, pack my bags, be like, you know what, figure it out, Loen. And I'm gonna be there.
For the bird. You're nothing but a vulture.
Oh no! That concludes this season. First season of Chats with the girls.
Done and dusted.
Don't like it's my birthday.
Baby!
Don't like it's my birthday, baby.
Anyway, guys, we really hope you enjoyed this season. Please comment which topic do you want us to cover. If you're thinking it, we are saying it, we are talking about it. We are real, we are open, we are going there. When people say don't go there, we are going there. We are going there. So we really hope you enjoyed this season.
Just to keep it soft. Because this was the best cocktail I've ever tasted in my entire life. Passion fruit. Like, this was the best one.
Yeah, it was like vodka.
And if you guys would like to sponsor us, please
Please
come true.
come.
Keep in touch with keep it soft. The Don himself, hey?
And please subscribe, guys, if you really like the conversations that we're having. You'd like to recommend any other topic that you'd like us to discuss, drop it in the comments.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.